Atlanta, and beyond. What's going on?
Yes, sir. That was a nifty little tune there.
Yeah, man. Where did that music come? Who is that?
Man, who are those cats, man? I was rolling, whatever it was.
Well, you come clean. Tell them what it is.
It is the title track to my CD that I did back with my brother playing drums on. It's called FTMO, which is From the Mind of Tyrone Jackson. So, yeah, that's the title track. And I actually wrote that song while I was driving, but I never played it. I was like going in my head. I transcribed it. I was like, oh, now I gotta freaking play this song. So yeah. And I remember I had a different groove entirely, man. He was like, bro, check this out. Let me check this out. So now you made a groove that you had to relearn too. We did.
Couldn't even play it when we started playing. I was like, man, how did I even do this, man?
It's a lot of more boom, clap, boom, clap. I was like, I don't know how y'all do that stuff. I just got two hands.
I kind of took what you already kind of had, the swing element, and I just sort of put a little groove on it, man. So now that record, is that still available?
It is still available.
And where is it available? Let people know.
It's on Spotify. You can look up FTMO on Spotify. It's YouTube, whatever. And it's also on iTunes and Amazon Music too. Yeah, a lot of platforms. Yeah,
all streaming.
Google. Yeah.
All streaming platforms. I believe.
All streaming platforms. Yeah. Go check it out.
Is the album on YouTube?
The album is on YouTube. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people don't like to put their stuff up there on
yeah.
YouTube, but I don't know.
What can you do, bro?
I know. Thing is is for exposure now.
Right. That's just what it is, right?
Everything will be exposed.
But musicians now don't have a concept of going to your mailbox and getting a check.
No.
They're like, well, I'm putting some content out there. Okay, so what are you going to do? Well, hopefully it builds some ads and I can get some money. It's like, dude, your content is the money.
Right.
It's like, stop giving your content away, bro.
Man, but what else? Like you just said, what else can you do?
Right.
I mean, you got to sell it out. Really, the best option is sell it out of the back of your car.
Right. I tried to give a cat one. I gave a musician a CD to learn. He's like, nah, man, you keep your CD.
I was like, don't have a CD player.
He's like, just put it on. I was like, because some of these kids buy it just for nostalgia. They'll have it so it can be like, oh, I got the album and I can look at it. Right. They don't even care about what's inside it, right? Because you think about the liner notes. That's how do you get liner notes on Spotify? You don't.
You can't. That's why you don't know. That's why you don't know who's playing on.
You don't know
what.
who's
you
on
don't
the
know
record.
Anything.
You used to have little messages inside the liner notes. Yeah, I thought about this. Hey, you don't get nothing anymore, man.
That was the beauty of the album, man. It was art. It was interactive experience. That was our internet. Was
right. Do you do even album art? What's art covers anymore? Album art.
I know.
You don't have to do that anymore, do you?
I know. Well, when cats found Photoshop, them days was over. You find a picture,
bro. Train track had never been the same, bro. Everybody put their face on a train track, moving, grooving.
I'm like,
are you on a train tracks?
Or like, how did you get hanging over a cliff?
right.
With your instrument,
right.
Looking down, like.
Right, looking over across the horizon like this, right?
Come on, man. Come on.
Bro, Photoshop. Oh, that commercial. My wife hates that I think it's a Google phone or something. Shout out to Google. Don't want to hurt our chances with anything that we on. But anyway.
Please don't get us canceled.
Right. But you can go there. This guy throws up his kid, right? And then he goes in and alters it like he throws his kid up like another 3 feet in the air. I'm like, bro, first of all, dangerous. Second of all, you're lying. You didn't throw your kid up that high, bro. Oh man.
Hey,
thanks for anymore.
I have no idea, man. That's a whole nother show.
That's another show.
Listen, thanks for everybody for hanging out with us tonight on this episode of Chop It Up Tuesday. I believe this is our 16th episode.
I was amazed by that. I was amazed by 16 episodes.
This is our 16th episode. And now that the YouTube has been working along with us, instead of me having to upload and all that stuff, it is directly on YouTube. You just have to go to the live category because it's streaming live on YouTube. So if you're not watching on YouTube, if you watch on Facebook and you want to catch the episode, or if anybody wants to catch they can't stay for the whole thing, go to the YouTube and it is in the live category. But some of them have been left up on Facebook and stuff. And so you can always go back there and watch it, but we would really love it for you to go to the YouTube, and so we can get that traffic. Please like, subscribe, and help us out with that channel. We are working on, again, some cool stuff. Hopefully, some partnerships coming up here in the near future.
Yeah.
And I just uploaded a episode on Spotify, I believe, last week. So trying to get that going, and so we're on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram. Yeah, go to our Instagram page. We post clips from previous shows. Had some pretty funny episodes or pretty funny clips going on the last couple of weeks, so go check those out.
We can't say funny today because we're gonna be out of our league today. So
we're out of our depth. We're out of our depth.
I'm be a straight man today. I can't. I won't be able to compete. So
we're gonna try our best to hang. Just a couple of house cleaning things. Yes. We have a show coming up.
Yes.
On November 19th at the Balzer Theater. Day. My band will be playing a concert starting at 7 p.m. curated by my friend and partner and brother right here, Tyrone Jackson, who also happens to be lending his talents in the band as well. So please, the QR code is on the flyer. I posted the flyer on Facebook. I'm going to put it in my story, and I'm going to post a link to it also. But you can also go to theatricaloutfit.org.
Yes.
And you can purchase tickets there, theatricaloutfit.org. So
yeah, look up the Live at the Balzer series, jazz series, for sure.
Live at the Balzer, right? So he's got some other shows that are going to be some great shows coming up for 2024. We're kind of closing out.
Actually, there's one more show. There's Corinne Williams is going to be performing on December
beautiful
17th. So she's doing a quick little set in between shows at 4:00.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
So we're the penultimate, if you want to use the $5 word. We're the penultimate show of the year.
So is that going to be in between the play that's going on there, or what's
Christmas?
Going on? Okay,
there's a Christmas carol, Christmas story. One of the things, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So yeah, but November 19th is a special one because I don't know if you thought about this, but that's also my birthday. So you got me working on my birthday.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna have to make that double duty, bro.
Yeah,
make it a
wing ding.
That's what they used to call it, a wing ding, man. You remember that?
No.
You ever watched? You never watched? What's the show? The Dick Van Dyke Show, or the old 50? Those 50 shows.
I remember that. Yeah,
that's what they used. It was a wing ding, man. That was what they called it. And Donald Fagen said that in one of the Steely Dan. Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I grew up in New Orleans, bro. Man. We had to
give me one New Orleans colloquium that you have no idea what that would mean unless you're from New Orleans.
Laissez les bon temps rouler. It just means let the good times roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to figure it out. All right, give me another one.
I'll give you.
Give me a street. Okay. Give me something street though.
I'll give you a street. Okay. Okay, I got a couple. This is some random junk. What's up, LaFarley? You try to do that somewhere else, they look at you like you're crazy. Like,
what is it? Say it again.
What's up, LaFarley?
What does that mean?
It's like, what's up, nephew? What's up? What's up, LaFarley?
Oh, okay.
And then we say yeah and no at the end of sentences. We're like, I was going to the grocery store. Yeah. I was going to pick me up some stuff. No. You're like, where you get that from? Boy, he was acting a fool. Yeah. They be big. Boy, one time I was telling my wife, I was like, look, Popeye's chicken tastes different in New Orleans than it does out here in Atlanta. She's like, you lying. It's a chain restaurant. I was like, I'm telling you. I got in trouble, bro, because I go through the line and say, hey, baby, give me a 5-piece. She's like, baby, what? Baby, that's what we say. I started changing my voice. Baby, that's what we say in New Orleans. Now put some red beans and rice on the side, baby. She's like, all right, darling. She's like, do you know her? I was like, I don't know her. I promise.
That's how they talk.
And another thing I told her, I was like, look, let's go to this drive-through daiquiri spot. She's like, you can't have alcohol. I was like, this is New Orleans. You can, right? So, bruh, she's like, I don't want to be in there when you get arrested. I said, babe, we're not going to get arrested, right?
Right.
Bruh, so we get the daiquiri. She gets it. She had like a work convention in New Orleans. Guess what she took her people to? The drive-through daiquiri shop in the limousine. And now they think that she the greatest thing.
Now she's the one, right? She's the hip one. Oh, that's the little.
You even drop my name up in that bad boy. You know?
Oh, that's slick. Yeah. That's so slick. All right. Well, I think we've covered all the basics.
Yes.
Let's talk about this guest.
Oh, I'm excited about this guest. But you go first. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know this guest because she is she's part of the family, really. I'm not going to say, she's really my sister from another
Mister.
Okay. But she basically is just about related through my wife. So, she is from Gastonia, North Carolina.
I got questions about that. I really do. I got some questions.
Hey, man, there might be a whole lot of them in here tonight, so you better watch it.
I ain't scared of.
They be hey, man. Nah, they cats pull out. They old school in Gastonia.
Tates, bruh.
They still wear the curl. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's Memphis. They wear Jerry curl.
They don't wear the curl. But
okay, no, they don't.
So she is a part of the family. She's the first time I saw her, man, I had to be in the 90s sometime probably. Wow. I didn't know her at that time, but she was
I was about to say, because
she was one of the up and comers and in the comedy game, and there's so many of those who have gone on to greater things or have fallen off or whatever, just like us, man. That's kind of like why I wanted to bring, there's so many parallels in the comedy game and in the music game. It's kind of crazy. And so
I think she got her feet in both, because she sings a lot in some of her stuff too. Like,
yeah, she be hiding that though. Yeah, she be hiding that. A lot of
comedians do that though. They're gifted in a lot of different areas. You think about Jamie Foxx, and they all got that third eye kind of thing, so they can delve into all these different worlds.
Well, a lot of comedians, you have, they're vastly talented in other areas. Just like, think about Red Fox and all of the great.
Well, you talking about?
They all were all musicians. They were actors. They could dance. They could do. They could do some punchline.
You got to know how to do the joke, the straight man, or the or the person doing it.
Right. So, but so we'll talk about all those great things. But she was also the MC at my wedding.
She's responsible for that. What happened?
Oh, she was the MC, bro. Well, that's not responsible, but she was the host.
She did a
And
very good job too.
she did an incredible job. And
Yeah.
I was trying to remind her of our good friend Ali Barr, who will be performing with us at the
Yes.
ball. And Ali was the one to try. I was like, bro, don't do that, man.
Don't
Do that.
right.
And it
And
was just all night, man. It was like she was
I
just
was happy about that.
kept pulling stuff out. So
Yeah.
to get him. So, but without further ado, we're going to bring in
Get my
the
hand.
great Miss Chinnita Morris.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good
She's
evening.
also an artist formerly known as, but I'll let her take care of that. So
As chocolate.
as chocolate. So that's where.
Why did the voice drop as chocolate?
No, that's just natural.
Right. Okay.
That's not on purpose. That's just natural. So yeah.
How are you doing this evening? It was good to see you. You came by the house over the weekend and chilled out, and I didn't know, man. I just came home and was like,
right now, anytime I'm in town, I'm going to hit my best friend up. We actually share the same name since
this is correct.
My best friend Chinnita from Gastonia.
Yes.
And Chinnita and I've been friends since we were 13.
Nice.
And I still have letters from her in high school. We were just and so anytime I come home, and she moved to, because we kind of grew apart when we went to college. And then we wind up reconnecting when we both moved to Atlanta. So anytime I get to come to Atlanta, I'm going to hit Chinnita.
What year did you move to Atlanta?
I moved in 90, and she came.
Oh, you were there earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it was, and I got the phone call, and immediately I knew who it was.
Right.
It has an accent all her own. It is definitely a Gastonia accent, though. But I was listening to you guys talk about New Orleans, and he was saying he wasn't scared. But like you said, Gastonia is a whole nother animal.
Yeah, bro. They be packing them cats to pull out that switchblade. They got them old school stuff that come out of nowhere.
That's why you drive through that fast. You don't linger on in the Gastonia.
You can't even do that because the speed bumps that we have here, right? You can actually drive over the speed bumps at a reasonable miles per hour. I would say, there. Man, you better be going about 3 to 5 miles an hour, because those jokers are like mountains.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like,
they got they ain't changed anything.
Need a tractor to drive over them things. But but New Orleans ain't no joke. So yeah, I love New Orleans.
Nice.
But I love to hear you guys talk. Certain accents you just love to hear.
Right,
New Orleans and Brooklyn.
Or,
anywhere in New York, because I love your accents.
Yeah, you don't know if a chick is flirting with you in Brooklyn or not. They all sound the same. What's up, son? You got you think I'm cute?
That's definitely not flirting.
Right.
What's up, son? Yeah, that's definitely not flirting. My goodness.
So you're from Gastonia. Where was your first location after you left Gastonia?
When I left Gastonia, I went to college. I went to 2 different HBCUs. I went to Livingstone College first, and I was there 2 years, and then transferred to Winston-Salem State University. Okay. And then Winston-Salem, and then after that I graduated and moved to Baltimore. And I did not. Wow. Yeah, I didn't like Baltimore. I stayed in Baltimore like 3 months. I took a job up there right after college, and I didn't like my job. I didn't like Baltimore. And one day I just went to work with everything I owned in my car. And, I worked until lunchtime, got my check. It was a Friday. Chinnita is one of them people. I'm talking about myself in third person. Chinnita is one of them people, baby. If I know this ain't for me, I'm not staying. I'm not gonna try to make it work. It's not gonna happen. I worked until lunchtime, got my check, and hit I-95 going south, and never looked back.
Wait! You worked up to lunchtime?
I worked up till lunchtime. Got my check.
Like, peace.
Deuces. I am
Lick your fingers and that. I had my meal, got my check, and that was it.
And I was an assistant manager, so.
Where were you working? Where were you working?
It was a department store called Ames.
Okay.
And I think it was a northern thing. And I didn't like Baltimore. I didn't like my job, and I was like, yeah, this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. I have aspirations and dreams, and I knew,
Yeah.
I knew I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing.
Right.
But I knew that wasn't it.
So. We talk about the similarities between comedy, entertainment, basically, just say entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
How you have to, I know as musicians, we have to make that line in the sand that say, we're going to be musicians. And shout out to the people who can do multiple things, like a regular job and do music. I'm not discrediting what they do, or part-time comedians or whatever, but to follow your dream in an arena where people say you need something to fall back on, right? Like if my brother was going to be a math teacher, my mother never said to him, hey, why don't you do this to get something to fall back on? But as soon as I said I was going to do music and I was really good, she said, you need a backup plan. But they never say that about a doctor, lawyer, what have you. So it takes a certain amount of courage. For you, when did that light switch or that line in the sand say, this is what I'm going to do?
Dude, like I said, I hit I-95 South. I never looked back. Got to Atlanta because another friend of mine, she's my best friend still, Jennifer, and she still lives. She was the reason I moved to Atlanta. And I knew in Baltimore that I wanted to be an entertainer. And I'm looking for places where I can go and do comedy. And at that time, it was hard for Black comedians to get on stage, and because they was like, well, can we see a video of you? I was like, how am I gonna have a video if I can't get on stage? So when I moved to Georgia, I'm going through the yellow pages, we had yellow pages back then, and come across a comedy club that was a Black-owned comedy club.
Wow.
And I called them, asked them, could I get on stage? They was like, we have special engagements for the next 2 weeks. So that gives you 2 weeks to get it together, get your 5 minutes together, and come down and we'll give you 5 minutes on stage. And after that night, I knew more than anything, I don't want to do nothing else.
Nice.
Every job I took after that had to be part-time. I got to be off by 6 so I can go to the comedy club. I ate, slept, and breathed comedy from that point on.
Yeah. So what were your, when you made that decision, had you already been at least watching certain comedians, or were there, I guess, what are your influences to make that decision to get into comedy?
I had seen great comedians, the Whoopi Goldbergs, the Ellen DeGeneres. HBO had started doing this thing where more Black comics were being televised, like Mark Curry and Eddie Griffin and
Sinbad,
definitely Sinbad. And so, but I don't remember looking at them and being like, I want to do what they're doing. I just knew that something inside of me, I had always been a jokester, but I was a really, really, really bashful person.
Really?
Most people have a hard time believing that. I've definitely come out of my shell, but I had to force myself
Me
out
too.
of the shell. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to force myself because you want something so bad, but you know that you have this other persona that's trying to hold you back. And I would say to anybody who has a child that's really, really bashful to really help them work on that, because I think that it hinders you, even though we still wind up walking in our purpose. I think there was so much more that I could have done had I not allowed that particular part of my character to hold me back.
Yeah. Yeah. That, in music too, there's situations where women are not really respected. And in our field also, women have to dress a certain way or be sexy or all this kind of stuff to just be even in a conversation for musical things. Is that paralleled in comedy as well sometimes, or?
When I got into comedy, I made it a point to dress really nice. Because the women in comedy before the black comedy thing took off,
Right.
They didn't dress sexy.
Right.
And not necessarily sexy, but they didn't dress very feminine.
Right.
And so, I mean, you had Rita Rutner, who was, one in a million who would.
But Whoopi never wore a dress.
No, Ellen DeGeneres,
Marsha Warfield.
Yeah.
So the women in comedy back then, So I didn't want that stigma.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't want to look like that. I wanted to dress nice and, be very feminine. And I think when the black comedy thing blew up, we kind of changed a lot of that.
Nice.
So,
style.
Because you had a lot of feminine women, that took the stage and did very well. But no, I think it's just like, I think it's in the industry period that women have to fight for a seat at the table.
Right.
I don't even think comedians in general were that fashion conscious when you think back to
when they first started off.
Even like, when you think about like even the men, even guys like, George Carlin or Gary Shandling, or even the guys on that side. They were never really. And I had a friend that was a good friend of mine in Chicago who was an aspiring comic, black guy. He always commented about that. He was like, man, I want to wear something nice. Comedians are not, they don't ever really think about it. They just go up on stage with looking tore down, whatever, and he's like, man, I want to go up there. And at the time I was just like, okay, I guess. I mean, I never really thought of the, but it wasn't until you really started seeing like Sinbad started coming out a little bit. He had like the Cavaricis on, and he had the pleats and looked like he went to Chess King and spent his whole check. On Chess King, But it was sort of that where you saw some people start to kind of try to bring some kind of style to.
Well, I think that the comedians that you mentioned were mostly white comedians,
right?
Carlins, and they would go up there and but for the most part, back in the day, when you look at the male comedians, and most of them, they didn't dress up Steve Harvey dress up,
right?
But they at least put on, they at least look decent on stage. Because Mark Curry,
Curry,
they weren't up there in jeans and t-shirts,
right?
Yeah, Curry had that little LA cut suit with the no tie,
And even Eddie Griffin, he wasn't up there in a t-shirt, and So I think that the black comedians, the men, they took a little more pride. But I think when Def Jam happened, you had so many young comics that just came out there and whatever they wanted to come out in. But a lot of us still did, dress up.
Right.
And then Steve Harvey, he started this thing where, and so I think it depends on the maturity of the comedian. Some comedians just don't, I think it is wherever you are in your head. Some comedians, they hip hop, this this is me. I'm not gonna be
Def
getting all
Jam,
dressed
yeah.
up, get on stage, and some comedians, we feel better when we look good, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The same thing with musicians. We very much, if you, you know, the black side is way different
Yeah.
than the white side in terms of dressing. You know,
Yeah.
Okay.
we're like, you know, if you work with a female black singer, she gonna tell you what to wear. You
Wow.
know,
Okay.
you know.
First,
Tyrone could sit there and
so,
say, you know,
I
the
hate
first
to
thing
ask the question at
hate
rehearsal.
to ask the question. Hate to ask the question, but might as well get it over with.
Right.
Chinnita,
Because
Chris, every time I'm getting ready to ask the question, Chris looks at me like, "Bro, don't
Don't do it.
do it."
don't do it.
And Chris tells me, "We know how to dress, bro.
We know how
Don't
to dress,
don't
but
ask questions."
there's some people that have ruined that.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
have to tell them, what to wear. So
Right.
Yeah, because you doing a black tie affair, and this dude shows up in some, tore up jeans and a raggedy
seen it,
shirt. Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
seen it, seen it, seen it. So as you're making sort of your, so you kind of you knew you wanted to look different. What about your style and what in terms of what you were seeing presented out there, and what did you want to do to kind of make your own statement as a comedian?
I just wanted to be classy. I wanted to be a classy woman, and it's no shade to the women who were butch. I mean that's on them, but I didn't want that on
Right.
me. I didn't.
Mm,
I wanted to separate myself so much so that just because I'm a woman comedian, I don't want you getting in your head that it's like that.
Right.
You know, and so I'm not trying to sound phobic or anything like that.
yeah, right.
But that's, I mean, they just didn't back in the day. And I think that when you had that black comedy blast in the 90s, it just kind of changed that. And then people like Steve Harvey comes out and he's really dressing up on stage, and it just gave you a different mindset. It made I think it was just taking pride in yourself and what you did, and I'm going to do this with excellence. And I think that was more of the mindset. It's just the spirit of excellence. And I think there are a lot of comedians who go up and they rip the stage and they got on sneakers and t-shirts and ripped up jeans, and so it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that your delivery is a lot different from other people too. I don't know if that's intentional, it's just that's the way that you hear things or do things. And one of my favorite bits that you did was when you talked about the difference between how these country singers go in and out, and it was just so magical because musicians, we hear all those inflections, and when you were doing it, I was like, oh, that is perfect. I'm hearing this going in and out, and I'm like, nobody else hears that, So it was so cool so. But that is definitely a stylistic thing. How did that stuff develop? Like,
I think it's just the way I hear and see things, because I don't do anything purposely to be different as far as my delivery. I
right,
think it's just the way I talk. I hear people talk about that dry humor or the sarcasm,
right.
and I'm not doing that on purpose. I guess it's just the way I talk. Like I tease Chinnita about how slow she talks, not realizing I have that same. I sound a whole lot like her.
like,
That's
speed it up.
the funniest thing. Yeah, and that country twang that we
Right,
have.
right.
Shanita's a little more harder than mine, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I don't do it on purpose. I think it's just who I am and how I see things, because I didn't grow up in the church. Shanita grew up in the
Right.
church. I didn't grow up in the church, so I started going to church as an adult, and I'm already a comedian. Yeah, I'm seeing some stuff like, really, y'all
Right,
do that,
right.
So yeah.
I think about this is a chance for me to ask a question I probably would never be able to ask. As musicians, while we're playing, we're thinking about other stuff. There's like a million things going on as we're executing what we're supposed to be doing. Does it, what happens when you're telling a joke? Or is there another thing happening in your head that's going on?
Yeah. You're like, oh, I hope this one goes over. but sometimes when you're in a zone, yeah, you're thinking. I don't think most of the time when we're on stage, we're hoping a joke goes over. You know how your set is going to go after that first joke.
Right.
And so you're just up there having a good time. But yes, in your head, you are multitasking.
Right.
Because you're looking at the audience.
Some
of us are audience readers.
Right.
And we see the guy in the ugly suit who think he really sharp. And
you gotta grab that. You can't let that pass.
Yeah, sometimes things are so obvious that if a comedian doesn't address it, yeah, you look bad.
Right.
If somebody is sitting out there and they got the Patti LaBelle hair, the way she used to wear it, looked like she had albums on her head, and and everybody's like waiting on you to address this lady in the front that's blocking everybody in the back, and you just going straight through your set. Trying to make you look bad. Yeah.
Do you think? But some people, they show up to get heckled. That's
I think some people do.
Definitely.
Some people do. Chris.
Definitely.
Because sometimes after a show, people be like, "Did y'all playing that?" Like, I don't know that dude from Adam's House Cat. So yeah, you just. But I came at the famous Comedy Act Theater in Atlanta, and we had some great teachers. We had some great teachers. Chris Charles was the house MC, and man, he used to just rip people for hours. Right. I mean, I done seen people get so mad at this dude. I done seen people throw bottles at this dude and everything, but man, he was the house MC, and he was hilarious. Yeah. And we learned how to read our audience. Anybody who came up under him, he taught you so much. You don't just go up on stage and just do your set. I mean, if that's the kind of comedian you are, then so be it. But he taught us to be able to go outside of that.
Nice.
Wow.
Improv. Yeah. You gotta be able to just,
improv. There you go.
Yeah, deal with what you see in the audience. So.
Right.
Is that so? How do you develop? Is that just night after night? You just got to be in there. You got to be doing it. You got to just, I'm trying to, because we have the same situation that happens with us. If we get caught in a certain situation where the song goes to the left, it was supposed to go to the right. It's like, oh, okay.
Right.
And if you have the, if you have the right people there, it could actually turn into something even better.
Right. Yeah.
But if you don't have the right, but if you were with guys that do not know how to navigate that, it is train wreck.
Right.
City.
Exactly.
So how did that? I mean, can you talk about some? I know you had to have some like moments of just like, oh boy, how am I going to get out of this one?
Well, I became one of those women because not a lot of women will mess with their audience. Not a lot of women know how to deal with the hecklers. And like I said, we came up under Chris Charles, and so we kind of learned from the best. And so, when we had those situations, or when I had those situations, I wasn't the woman to mess with that. And not only that, even before I got into comedy, I knew how to handle my own. I came up rough, and had to defend myself a lot because of this chocolate skin and, just a whole lot of things,
What's up, Midnight? What's up, Midnight?
Right.
What's up, Midnight?
No, they weren't that nice. And so, I had to deal with a lot. And so I had to learn how to defend myself. So there was that. But I also, honed my chops in that. And like I said, we were at the comedy clubs all day, every day. The Comedy Act Theater was open from Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah, you can also have other comedians heckle you too, so you gotta be.
Yeah, I got heckled one time, and that was my first night meeting him, and he sat up front, and he was way too easy, and he was a comedian. He was a seasoned comedian.
Right.
And this dude, he actually uses the joke that I used on him.
Oh,
he,
wow.
he uses it in his set. And it was TK Kirkland. And
yes.
he comes and sits in the very front row, and he's trying to heckle me while I'm on stage. And I'm a young comedian at the time, but we gonna go at it. I'm not running from you. And TK got these teeth and all this and that, and he talks a nasty game on stage. And man, it was just too easy. It was too easy. I ripped him up. And the one joke about the teeth, I can't say it. I can't use it now. Y'all know better. He actually uses that in his show now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It got him so good that he's just going to use it.
Yeah. And he can have it because I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that no more. So.
Yeah, he was doing the show. I was playing in a band, and the DJ decided, he said something about the DJ, and the DJ was like, I got the power to turn off the microphone. He said, well, I've been paid already. He just went off. He said the guy's name, I'm gonna say the guy's name because it's such a crazy name. He said his name is DJ Philly Phil from Fayetteville. And Kirkland started just going off on him. All right, DJ Philly Phil.
From Fayetteville.
You're not even from Philly.
That's open season. It's open season. Open season.
Yeah, man. I was on what's the guy? Michael Collin?
Michael Collier.
Yeah. I was on the elevator with him, and there's the Black Arts Festival in North Carolina, Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem, yeah.
I was in the elevator with him. He said, what's your name? I said, Tyrone Jackson. And I knew it. He was going to get me. He's like, bro, you got the blackest name in history.
Right.
I was like, whoa, sir, we just met. Right. It was funny. So I was like, okay. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Wow. I tell you, you might just want to go by Ty.
Right.
Yeah. Take it wrong off.
Yes.
And spell it TAI.
That's good. Let me write that down. TAI.
So who was so when you were, what was the name of the club that you were working in?
Comedy Theater.
Who were there other who else was coming through there at that time?
Listen, not only were great comedians, let me tell you, my very first night on stage, Jonathan Slocum.
Oh wow.
I think Angela Means, and y'all don't think you know Angela Means, but you do.
Means, yeah.
If you know Angela Means.
Yes.
Angela Means is by Felicia in Friday.
Yeah.
So she was hosting, and she was the one who brought me up. So they let the little 5-minute ones go up first, and that was me, Jamario, and I think Sherman Golden. But then the real show starts, and it was Jamie Foxx and D.L. Hughley, and I think Jonathan Slocum opened up for them.
Wow.
And that night, I watched Jamie Foxx do Ugly Wanda. And I think that was the first night he ever did that. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So my first night. But I mean, if you can name any of the greats, Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac took me on tour with him.
Nice.
One of the first tours I'd ever been on. And Cedric the Entertainer. Who else? Anytime Jamie and Bernie came, we went to every show.
Wow. Because
every show, the Young Comics was there for every show because it was always hilarious. Rudy Ray Moore. I remember watching. I didn't know who Rudy Ray Moore was. I didn't grow up watching comedy like everybody else. And I remember, man, everybody came out to see him. I mean, the lines were wrapped around the building.
What do you guys look for when you hear comics of that level? Because I know as musicians, we go to hear people that's like on that upper echelon, and we try to grab something from that, or just take in or see the mastery. What do you guys do when y'all see comics on that level?
Well, at that time, those comics weren't on that level. They had been doing comedy a few years before I had. The only person I knew that was in it for years was Bernie Mac and Steve Harvey.
Okay.
Now the Joe Torres and all of them that were they had the notoriety, but they weren't as big as they are now. The D.L. Hugleys and the Cedric the Entertainers, and they weren't there. And we all remember when Jamie got his big break with In Living Color.
Right.
And so he was one of the first breakouts, but the thing with Rudy Ray Moore, I didn't know anything. I didn't grow up listening to comedy albums like so many of my other peers did. And so everybody was so excited about Rudy Ray Moore. I didn't have a clue. Yeah, so I didn't have a clue who he was. So I'm like, all these people are out here to see this dude. And man, 20 minutes into his show, God rest his soul. But 20 minutes into his show hadn't changed much at all.
Right.
And so people are piling out in the middle of his set and leaving. I'm like, and it was the same stuff, but like I said, I didn't know who this man was or what his material. And the material was dated, but you're in the middle of Atlanta and you got these upscale Black people coming to see Rudy Ray Moore. So apparently y'all knew his material.
Right.
So why are you now offended?
Right.
But it's kind of
they were offended.
It's like we deal with some of that on our end with guys that they're stuck in a certain time period with what they do. And sometimes we call it shtick. It's like they have this, right? So it's the same thing with like, Dolomite with the rhyming,
right.
It's
how he's talking about women back then,
right.
Them women, they successful business women, and man, so I think the men wanted to stay, but the women were like, I'm not sitting here listening to this. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So what's the next step for you after, your sort of client, you're getting your feet wet, you're working the clubs, and, you hear stories of all of these guys tell their story of being on the road, doing these clubs, doing, X amount of shows a night, showing up, sometimes not, getting paid, not getting paid, having to fight to get paid, and you're just going to club, and the Black clubs are always going to be the hard. I mean, that's just
the Chitlin circuit.
The Chitlin circuit. So, what's your journey like through doing some of that stuff? And then when did you say, I've had enough of this?
Well, let me see. My very first away gig I will have to say this. When they gave me a week at the Comedy Act Theater, when they think you're funny enough to open up for a week for whoever's there, and you get $50, you in hog heaven, because this is your first paycheck. You mean I get paid to do what I'm loving?
That's right.
And then when your pay goes up to $100 or $200, and I think my first away gig was in Detroit, and it was with Sinbad, somewhere at a club, and I think my hotel and my airline ticket cost more than what I was getting paid.
Right.
But it was just a blessing to, see what you've put in all this work for come to fruition. And I was a rebel, because I was one of those women that, people are coming to the club and they want to see Chocolate, but y'all are not paying Chocolate what you're paying the other guys who started with Chocolate, and ain't nobody asking to see them.
Right.
And me and one of the guys was really, really close, and he was letting me know, no, I get paid this much. Yeah, you need to check them about your paycheck. And so I actually had to do my own little boycott to say, I'm not going back on stage here until you pay me what I deserve, And that only made me look for work elsewhere. And so now I'm not even working at the club. I'm being booked everywhere else. And it kind of went off quickly for me because like a year later, after I got started, Def Jam pops up and we're watching this. And I'm like, hey, I can do that. I should be on that show. And the next season, I was on that show. You know,
Wow.
you know, the scouts came out and everything. And you know, so, and after that, you know, it just kind of blew up for you.
Yeah, the business side of things too. I think people think that we just do entertainment and that's it, but the business is a big side of it. And so with yourself, did you have a business manager? You just did it yourself? You just learned it yourself? How'd you deal with the business part of entertainment?
When I graduated college, I graduated with a business degree.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, you have family who say, girl, you better get you a real job, you know.
Right.
And I mean, I don't have no kids at the time, and you know, it's just me. So
Right.
I'm
You can make
going
that
for my
sacrifice.
dream, you know.
Right.
And it was sometimes, you know, I was almost homeless and stuff. But I knew that this was what I really wanted to do. So I've had business management and agents. Now, one thing about me, I played the agency thing. Like at that time, agencies wanted you to be exclusive with them. So anything you get, they're gonna get a chunk of you, they're gonna get a percentage of it, whether they booked it or not.
Right.
So I didn't do the exclusivity thing, and I had like 3 or 4 agencies booking me. So I was always working.
Good.
You can book me, but I'm not doing exclusivity unless you're gonna give me a sign-in bonus. And a lot of artists will sign with somebody because it looks good. And then you're pigeonholed to these people and you don't have the freedom to do things that, you know, otherwise you might be able to do. So I had sense enough to not do that. I wanted good business management, but everybody that I tried to trust, you found out you couldn't trust. So.
Right.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, School of Hard, and then you see them, you see business management. I mean, some people's best friends wind up screwing them over because it's so much money coming through their hands, and it's hard not to, I guess, you know, and especially if they need it for something and you got the deposit. I remember having a show and I'm like, okay, where's my deposit? It was like, we sent that deposit 2 months ago. You know, yeah, you know, but the person that it was booked through, yeah.
Do you believe that comedians and or musicians should go to the School of Hard Knocks, like they should go through those type of things to get better? Or let me rephrase that. Should they, in starting off, maybe not get paid as much money, like, you know, as you start off with something like you shouldn't be up to $500 a show if you haven't done a set yet. I'm not saying that's how I believe, but that's how I believe it.
Not
But
if you haven't done a set.
you got to pay your dues, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe that you, and guess what? However long it takes for you to pay those dues depends on how good you are.
Right.
And if somebody's willing to pay, if somebody sees you one time and thinks you're hilarious,
yeah,
and they pay you $500 off rip, you know, that's not your fault.
No.
But you got a standard that you got to live up to, you know. I mean, I know a comedian, you know, he didn't go through what we went through, you know. But he's just one of those dudes who has confidence in himself and he knows his worth. And his first paycheck was like $500-$700. You know, where my first paycheck was $50.
Right.
You know, so whenever he was booking shows, that was his standard. You got to give me at least $500-$700. You know,
Right.
So and like my first year, I was happy to get $200. You know, to do what I love doing, you
Right.
know.
And me and Chris, we tried, especially I'm in education, I try to bring the younger musicians in to the fold. And so when we were coming up, we were hungry when the older guys are like, "Hey man, come play this set." I didn't
Right.
even ask how much money,
Right.
I
Right.
had to go and learn. Now some of these kids are asking me, like, how much does it pay? I was like, listen,
Right.
you should be paying me because I'm going to be holding your hand through this gig, right?
Right.
And basically, I just tell them you need to be on this gig.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
pay you. I'm not going to be unfair. Now, but there's also the students that's really at a high level achieving things, and we know that they need experience and exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if the gig pays whatever, you're gonna get that money, whatever. But I'm not gonna lowball you, give you $20 and say, but you're exactly right. Your talent, your gift is gonna make room for you.
Yeah. Well,
So
and you know what? Because sometimes it's just like you said, we were hungry.
right.
So we were doing shows for free. I just want to be on somebody's stage.
Right.
You
That's
know,
right.
and then sometimes these people don't realize that this person just started. You don't pay them 3,500.
Right.
And so
Right.
that person just got 3,500 because this person, the promoter, didn't know no better.
Right.
And now you've been doing comedy 6 months and you expecting everybody to pay you $3,500.
Right.
You don't have 15 minutes worth
Right.
of material.
Right.
So it's just like you said, how much am I going to get paid, when you really need to be grateful that you even have this platform.
Right.
Because like you said, we were hungry. We didn't care nothing about getting paid.
Right.
When I finally did get paid, I was just happy that, you mean I'm going to get paid to do this?
Right. Right.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's the difference between back then and now, is that people just feel like, they're entitled.
Right.
Well, it's what we had was passion
Mm-hmm.
and true love for whether it was music or comedy and I don't think you have as much passion
Right.
as you now because it's kind of like I was watching this documentary on the director Martin Scorsese,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about how you used to not know, you don't know how Citizen Kane was made, or you don't know how The Godfather was made, or you don't know. All you know is the final, and you're just in awe of
Right.
the production, right?
Right.
But now they're showing everything about how everything is done and
Pulling the covers
how
off. Yeah.
the covers off, the rabbits out of the hat,
Yeah.
so to speak, right? So with music, what we deal with a lot is if you're everybody's on social media, I'm sure they get these ads of learn so and such in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
learn such and such in 15 minutes,
Yeah.
learn how to play all your favorite songs in 30 minutes, learn how to. So you have this microwaved type of mentality, and people are learning stuff because it's like, oh, I can do this and then I can go make some money, or I can do this and go. It's not because you actually love something.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big part of the difference. The whole get off my lawn thing is, it is what it is. I mean, every generation has their own set of whatever it is, their belief system or whatever it is, but it really is very different, because I feel like for us, we could, even though we might have been born, in the 60s, late 60s or the 70s or whatever, there were a lot of periods of stuff that we did, whether it was in music or comp, that we liked.
Right.
Now they don't, there's no, if it's not like something current, they don't even have any kind of awareness as to where something came from. For us, it was all about digging. We got to dig back. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to find out who this cat was influenced by. I need to go learn about this. I need to go, okay, let me go check this out, you know?
Mhm.
And that's where I think the disconnect is, because we
Right.
just don't have that same respect for
The
lineage.
respect, yeah, that respect, yeah.
That, you know, I hate to
How
be,
can
to
you?
get on a rant,
But how
but
can you when everything's at your fingertips?
Right.
Like,
Like you said, microwave.
yeah,
Everything is
technology
microwave.
changes everything. We didn't have this technology.
Yeah.
I mean, when you had to learn a song, you had to just dig in, ask questions and stuff. Now, you go on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube. You go to YouTube.
please shout out to YouTube.
You can learn. You can learn anything you want. You got a hard
Learn
pass
anything you want
In 5 minutes.
in
Okay.
5 minutes.
So how is the comedy game changed? Because the social media comedians are here, boy.
Yeah.
So what has that done to, because I've heard some, you know, not, I mean, for lack of a better word, some pissed off folks about, you know, they put these hours and hours and struggles and like, so talk to us about that, because that's I really want to know about
Well, it's
that.
different because, you know, we're living in an age now where you're popular if you are viral or if you have 100,000 followers. And
Right.
you know, we're from the old school, so that's not how we roll. We ain't looking for
Right.
followers, you know,
Mhm.
on Instagram or whatever. Uh, we do what we do, and so the thing is, people will book some of these internet comedians off of their skits,
Right.
but being on stage in front of a mic and 1,000 people is a whole nother, it's a whole nother animal, you know. And you know, it's not about a skit, you know. And so I think it's some of them are funny, but very few of them know how to navigate that stage in real time.
Yeah.
And so when these promoters book these internet um, sensations and are disappointed, you know, I mean, comedy is one of them things, you know, you got to have that experience on stage and you got to be confident. You got to, it's just a whole nother animal. You can't get up there and just think you're gonna come off the top and you just quick like that. No, because one little thing in the audience, you do one joke that don't go over like you're used to it going over, it'll throw you off.
Right.
You got to know how to recover from that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, music too. You know, we got people putting stuff up, 20-second hits here and there. And what's going to happen when you have to do an hour set? They don't even know how to do a set, like to set up. Am I going to do it? Some people start off with like a really slow ballad. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't even know how to write a set list.
Wow.
So it's just like, but you have to be in that situation, watch other people, see how they navigate it. And like you said, dealing with a crowd is a totally different thing.
Totally different.
You know,
I mean, you have to make you have to make mistakes. Learn you only learn by making mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, you only learn by you know,
but your mistakes are recorded now, though, Chris.
Right.
Well,
your
this
mistakes are recorded and broadcast.
And you know, and to their,
and you may go viral. Yeah.
Right.
And to some people
go viral.
Right.
That
And
black
I've seen
piano player Tyrone Jackson
work.
with the blackest name played a horrible lick.
So I heard Marcus Miller talk about that. He was like, man, I used to be able to, you know, I could work a set every night in a club and figure out what works, what doesn't work. This song goes before this song goes, you know, I change it up, whatever. He said, now there is no way you can do that. You have, because everybody is recording anything that you play is going to we experience that every week. We play at a jam session, like a jazz jam session every night, or not every night, but every week. And we experience that like every time we do. It's just like the amount of people that are filming and recording
just the whole time.
Right.
I mean, enjoy the show.
That wreaks havoc on your jokes too, though, right? You can't even say your jokes again if people are recording and posting it, right?
Because how do you deal with that? Because if it doesn't work, if something bombs.
But even if you have good material, like if somebody sees it before your next show, what do you do?
Oh,
well,
that's a good point.
I haven't dealt with that, but and God forbid. But the thing is, back in the day, you couldn't do none of that.
Right.
It wouldn't let you. And so when things began to evolve and we're going into these shows and everybody's got their phones out and they're not just taking pictures. Right. They're filming. And some of them are live. Right. It's like, why are you broadcasting this live when you paid for it?
Right.
You know, and so I think we need to go back to telling people you can't film in here. If you take a picture, it's fine, but you cannot film the show because not only that, people steal jokes.
Right, they do. You're
and
right.
so, especially if you're somewhere,
people steal arrangements too.
Right. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we do parallel a lot.
Right.
We do. There is a lot of parallel there, but people steal jokes, and especially when you got comedians in there. You're a comedian. Why are you filming this?
Right.
Man,
we get that too. That is so crazy.
Because sometimes we'll do arrangements on the spot, which means we don't really know. We know the song, but Tyrone will start. He'll come up with something. I'll come up with the groove. We'll come up, and all of a sudden we got this. Oh man, that was him.
Improv,
and then 3 weeks later, you see somebody else doing it. Our boy, our friend Lil John Roberts talked about that when he was playing at Yin Yang, and those guys would be improvising all night long, and he go on the radio next week because people are coming in recording the stuff.
That's got to be frustrating.
And taking your ideas, and
that's
it's just
got to be so frustrating. Yeah, I would be so mad. I would be so mad.
Yeah.
I saw this documentary on the Comedy Store. I can't remember. Maybe it might have been signed. I can't remember who was talking, but they were talking about Richard Pryor when he would be working on his next new material. Mm-hmm. And it would start, and they say it would be horrible. And he didn't care. He would be coming in every night just to he would just fine tune. And then the next thing you know, 7 days, you're on the floor laughing so hard at what he's talking about because he's working. Can you do that now? Can you even do that?
Right.
You can't really even do, because you got to be on, right? Like, it seems like if you're not on, somebody else is going to get the call on something. It's like you have no time to work anything out,
Well, I mean, the thing is, you got to be careful because you're trying new material. This is stuff nobody has ever heard. And people are like, if that was today, people are in there with their phones recording. People steal material even though they know it's been on TV, So these people have no shame. No. And I used to get so upset, and I was like, you know what? Just forget about it. You wrote the joke. You know the joke is yours. Just continue to do whatever. Just continue to do what you do. Because that's one thing we just can't. We can't help. People are going to steal.
Right. Yeah.
And they have made it extremely easy by allowing people to be in these audiences just filming. But now because back in the day, people used to come in with the big old camcorders and stuff, and they could easily say, you can't do that. It used to be the big camcorder looking like they from the 11 Live News or something.
You gotta get out of here with that, bro.
But now it's on
microphone on top.
Yeah. Big old light, big spotlight.
Can you say that again, please?
So the bodyguard would easily come over and say, dude, you can't do that. But now it's on your phone.
Right.
So they would have to walk up to everybody in these arenas and say, hey, you can't. And so they just don't do that anymore.
Chinnita, let me ask you a question. I'm looking at your moniker, Clean versus Christian Comedy, and my brother is a gospel hip hop artist, and he wrote this song. I was like, man, this is kind of hardcore. He said, "I'm a Christian rapper, not a positive rapper." Right? So I was like, okay. Are those? I would think those things were mutually exclusive,
Right.
but it is. Maybe it's not. So can you explain your moniker? You said clean versus Christian, or is that? Can you explain what that means?
I just realized that was even down there.
Right.
Because we do a podcast. And it's clean
Oh
versus
yeah.
Christian
Well,
comedy.
actually, on that note, talk about your podcast and when people can hear you and who's on it, and give a little plug there.
Well, it is myself and Donald Martin, and we were just talking. Well, I saw his. We get this question all the time: isn't clean and Christian the same thing? And it's like, absolutely not. Right. It is not the same. So we're on every Tuesday night, except this one, because we have to take a week off, because if you don't have a production team, this stuff can be stressful. So I'm like, no, I have to be.
Say it again. Say it again.
If you don't have a production team, this is stressful. So, I wanted this week off, and then I go to my best friend's house and get asked to come on another podcast.
I know who that best friend is.
So I'm not off.
You are not off.
I'm just on somebody else's podcast.
But there's no days. There's no days off in this business. There's no days off. I've learned no days off, man.
Right. So I don't know about your brother, but he's the type of Christian comedian. So when you say it goes hard, what do you mean by that?
Well, he'll call out people with his raps like, but your ties are supposed to do it. I was like, whoa, okay, bro. you going in on the system? He's like, right. I'm a Christian rapper, not a positive rapper. I was like,
as long as he's speaking truth.
Yeah, but he's yeah.
It may hurt.
Yeah, but that's what they think. They think because you're a Christian rapper that it's got to be this, and so
got to be so positive.
Right.
Well, see, right. I think that's the thing that's happening with us, because we're admonishing, right. Because we see a lot of people. The Bible tells us that there will come a time when there will be a great falling away. Right. And if you got your spiritual eyes on, you can see that there are a lot of people who are naming the name of Christ, but they're not living the standard that Christ set. And so we started our podcast to say, first of all, yes, there's a vast difference. And pastors need to know this, because they will bring people to their churches and mistake them for a Christian comedian just because people say that they're clean.
Right.
And, one of the examples we use is Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is the cleanest comedian you probably will ever hear of. But Bill Cosby did not glorify God. He never professed Christ as Savior. And so that in itself shows you the vast difference between Christian and clean comedy. Not only that,
I never thought about that.
Yeah. And so Christian comedians, first of all, you have to be a Christian. So yeah, that's a prerequisite. Okay.
Right.
And so there should be a certain lifestyle, a certain standard that you live. And we all know that what came out in the wash with Bill Cosby. Yeah, we are vastly different. Christian comedy is not just comedy, it's actually ministry. So we're not mad at any comedians who are Christians but don't want the label of a Christian comic. I feel like I can appreciate people who don't want to wear the label, because it comes with a great responsibility.
Right.
And if you're not willing to walk in that responsibility, then just be a comedian that is a Christian, know. Because too many people are calling themselves Christian comedians and causing great confusion because of the way that they live.
Right.
Now, did you identify as a clean comic before? You started doing Christian comedy, or was that never was a that was
no?
never?
I was squeaky clean when I first started.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I guess there was maybe no such thing as that wasn't even and you lying about that.
She's about to say a conjunction. She says but, so there's got to
No,
be.
I was a squeaky
That's
clean.
what I thought.
As a matter of fact, and people know I've never been a cursor. That's just never been my thing. And I remember during that 2 weeks time that I had to get ready when they, so I can get my 5 minutes. I was in the mirror cussing because I thought all comedians had to cuss.
Right.
And I was in the mirror practicing my curse words. My first night, I was in the mirror practicing my cuss words. And so my first night on stage, it didn't come out. The curse words did not come out.
Right.
And so, but then, as I progressed in my, building material and whatnot, people now in the secular world, I did get the label clean comedian because I didn't curse. And I had a lot of people tell me, girl, if you would just curse, you would blow all the way up.
Right.
I say, well, I guess I ain't gonna blow up.
Nice.
But you weren't alone.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't alone in that. Sinbad didn't. I mean, there were other comedians that didn't curse, right?
Yeah, no.
Not
Sinbad,
many.
Yeah, not Sinbad. And Jonathan Slocum was one who never cursed. And yeah, it was very, very, but see, Sinbad was clean. I wasn't clean. I didn't curse.
I got you.
But I was not clean.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, no,
right.
I didn't curse, but I was not clean. And as some people even thought that I cursed because I was, my signature pieces was like trifling bastard, and I used the N-word profusely, and so a lot of people didn't realize that I didn't cuss because of I camouflaged.
Why do you?
A lot of other stuff.
But why do you think that? Why is that such a big deal? Why is that such a big part of? I mean, I know going back to some of the the old school, and they had the you listen to the records. I remember my parent listen to the Richard Pryor records or the Rudy Ray Moore records, or because they were so nasty, and they was talking about this and talking about that, right? So I get the that sort of like, ooh, you're doing something that you're not supposed to do or whatever. But why is that such a part of where really they're cursing more than telling comedy? That's what I hear now, especially now.
So you're saying, what's the big deal about what?
About having to curse in your show. Why is that so important to people?
Listen to me. I because there's an audience for everybody. Yeah. There's an audience that want to see the chocolate that doesn't curse, the comedian that doesn't curse, but the majority want some cussing.
Yeah,
I've had people come up to me and say, "You funny, but I need to hear some cussing." And this was when I was in the world. Right. This is when I was doing that kind of comedy, and they was like, "Yeah, no, I need to hear some cussing." You got all kind of people, and so all kind of people make the world go round, and so you would be shocked to hear what some people want the flim flaring filth. They want that. Yeah. That's what makes them laugh. They don't want the Christian comedy. And it's all wherever we are in our walk, in wherever we are in our lives.
Is it music too? Because there's some people just want the raunchy music, and you're like, can we do better than that? And they're like, no, I don't want to do better. I want that. Right. I want Maury Povich. I want,
I want the Luke.
Right, Luke, Miami.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember when I was in college, and NWA came out, or the West Coast rappers, and they was doing the crazy rap, because I used to love the old school rap. I used to love it, and I used to love to dance. But honey, I was just one of them people when that music came on, it wasn't a beat good enough that was gonna make me dance to something that was disrespectful.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm getting off the floor.
No, I'm glad you said that because a friend of mine invited me to her spin class, and they played that Luke music. I was spinning so fast that I almost had a heart attack. I was like, that wasn't even about the curse words. It just was how fast that junk was.
Oh my goodness.
But it was going into my head the whole time, you know.
Yeah.
Don't stop, get it. I was like, what's going on? And of course, the video was up there too. I'm like, I can't even ride the bike to this thing. I'm about to have a heart attack from what I'm seeing. I'm about to have a heart attack.
They had the video going. Oh,
they had the video going. I'm like, are y'all seeing this?
Yeah.
That's like some serious juice. You're making.
And you know, on the spin classes, your shoes are anchored into the pedals.
Yeah,
I can't even get out. I can't get off. Bro, I swore. And then here's the worst part about it. They can see your speed on the screen, how fast you're going. I remember the lady saying, she's like, your bike must be broken. I was like, yeah, it is. It's broken.
You were going that fast. Smoke coming out.
Going that slow. I couldn't keep up with that.
Your bike done started smoking and everything. Oh my goodness. I know you were thinking to yourself, I am never coming back.
That's exactly it. It took me about an hour in the parking lot just to recuperate.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I guess, you know, a lot of that comedy, it kind of mirrors music. It mirrors what's going on in the day, the comedy, music, you know, as I sit here and, you know, I get called a hypocrite a lot because, of course, one of my favorite artists of all time is one of the most explicit artists of all time, which is Prince, you know, and
Rick James.
I used to love Prince.
Okay, but I mean, I'm just saying from a at that time.
Did you have the butt out jeans?
He had the butt out jeans.
That's when a light came on for me.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, especially the early stuff is off. Is really like, wow, you know, it was because there really weren't any other than I mean, you had some artists, you know, there were Marvin Gaye would tote the line on some of those, you know, let's get it on, but it wasn't as in your face. I mean, Millie Jackson is really kind of one of the only other, just super like in your face, sort of like provocative artists, but there weren't that many. I mean, Little Richard. But people didn't understand what Little Richard was really talking about.
Eddie Pendergrass, his shows, he'd be doing all kind of crazy
stuff.
You
know, take his shirt off. But Prince took it to another with the thought, you know, with the androgynous look and everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, but he flipped. But he, you know, and this is so funny because, man, my mother always said to me, she's like, he's going to be a preacher one day. I said, you got your mind if he's going to be, but. She was kind of right because the cat was basically, he was definitely had flipped everything and you know,
crazy. He tells that story,
you know, and because he wouldn't even perform. There were songs that he wouldn't even perform anymore. But anyway,
right.
But the stuff that like we were listening to, guys, versus what is going on now. So I was just like following. I can't remember what I was. But I heard this song, Ski Yee. Have you heard this? I was like,
okay, so it's a song because I keep hearing people say that, and I'm like, why is everybody saying that? What is that coming from?
Dude. I mean, don't even go.
Oh,
check. I mean, it's like, are you serious?
Is it like it's bad?
I mean, it's so over the top. Raunchy. It's over the top. It's like this is got to be some kind of fabricated, like this is what you guys are really talking about. But the comedy kind of mirrors that because when you hear some of these comedians now, it's the same thing. It's like I don't even know really what they're talking about. All I know is
it's just the flim florin filth. You know, and
so I was like, is that how we're is that really where we are as a people? Is that really where we are?
It's what sells. It's what's making money.
Which means
and so even in the music industry where you have the record companies pushing this filth because it's going to fatten their pockets, and we as a people because I don't know about rock and roll or whatever they talk about, but the Caucasian people don't do stuff like that. You know, they're not disrespecting their women and saying all manner of evil to get a check, you know. And so we as a people, here we are, we're just selling our souls in order to be popular, in order to be on top, in order to get the bag. And is it really worth saying all of this stuff, you know? And so, yeah, I think it's in the entertainment industry, period, even in the movies, the acting and all of this stuff that we're doing, taking certain roles that, you know, make the culture look bad, you know, and even reality TV, you know. There was something on Instagram where a dude said something and all the women came for him because he was saying reality TV makes Black women look bad. And everybody was coming for him like, how dare you, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, really? He's telling the truth, you know? But we don't like the truth. We don't want to hear that what I'm doing is selling out. We don't want to hear that what I'm doing is choosing money over, you know, respect.
Well, you know, the reality stuff, more of those people in there are really actors, because most of that stuff, they've been taking the jobs from actors in LA. So they go out there and say, well, I'm gonna try to be on one of the reality TV shows. I'm already going out for a role.
Yeah.
So there was this lady, I can't remember what Real Housewives thing, but she's banded a bunch of them together, and they're trying to have a unionized situation because they give them a lot of alcohol on the set to do things. And like, if you look at every reality show, there's drinks everywhere. Wow. Well, if you're encouraging people to drink without having anything to eat or anything, and you film them, you're going to get what you're going to get. It's like the producers are setting up these scenarios for that. And that's what's selling, because that's what's presented, you know. But I think now, in the age that we can control our own narrative, you see people have more opportunities to create their own narratives. But even in that event, you see people still creating raunchy stuff on Instagram, on TikTok, what have you. Because a friend of mine told me TikTok in China is not like TikTok in America.
Right. It's not. It's totally different.
In a lot of countries, it's banned.
Right. But TikTok in China is educational stuff.
Right.
And could you imagine if TikTok was like that for us here in America, how much you could learn an algebraic equation if a kid did that? Instead, we're seeing learn how to twerk in 20 seconds.
You right. Exactly.
What about this quadratic equation in 20 seconds? Show me that.
Exactly. But America's a greedy country. You know, America's all about money. And so they don't care who they hurt to get it, you know. As long as it's bringing in money, we're not going to ban it. We don't even know what we eat in half the time.
Right.
Because, you know, America, I mean, look at Big Pharma. They don't care that you're dying. They don't care that this medicine going to help you go quicker.
Right.
You know, it'll relieve you for the moment, but actually it's killing you quicker. You know, America's just a greedy country. And so we fall into that because Americans are very entitled people, and we want what we want, and we want it now.
Right.
And, you know, so we have to harness that as a culture, our Black men and women, and say, no, I'm not going to purchase that. But it's too many people that are too far gone at this point. And that's just how they see the world.
Say that again.
Yeah. And, you know, they too far gone. It's how they see it, and it's how they want it. They don't want change. They don't see a need for change.
Yeah, we had a show where me and Chris was talking about, is it even worth it anymore? Like to excel and get to your best, because the mediocrity is like, why would I tell a student, hey, you need to keep practicing and get good, when the mediocrity is like, hey, you don't have to get that high? It's
a standard. That's a standard.
Like, you know, some of these comedians and some of the writers, I know the writers are on strike right now, but some of this writing is not even funny. I'm like, this bit is not funny.
Right. I mean, you know, and I'm going to step out on a limb. I love Tyler Perry. I worked with Tyler Perry, his first play.
Right.
But some of this stuff, and it's sad, that he even gets away with some of the stuff that he puts out there.
And the
And we just
longevity of those
gobble it up.
shows. The
Yeah.
longevity of shows on TV. I'm like,
Yeah.
TV,
And some of the shows, I'm like, this ain't gonna be on a
right.
season. And here it is, 6 or 7 seasons, and I'm not, trying to be mean or anything, but come on, really, if that was somebody else, we wouldn't be watching that stuff.
No.
But it's just like I think you said earlier, it's the acceptance of what's given, right?
Yeah.
If you people are going to be, just bring it back to the music thing. It's like, it used to be about songwriters.
Yeah.
You had to be a great songwriter, and your songs, there were people that would go at they were having 9 to 5. They would go to an office and write songs every day and try to sell their songs to an artist. That's how deep that was.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like this, it was serious business. It was an art. It was, now it's like those things don't even really exist anymore. It's about, but if that was what was presented to people and that was the norm, then I think other people are going to fall in line with that. People are going to fall in line with whatever the thing is at that moment. And now, especially where things just seem super easy and super mediocre, right? So it's like people don't even want to learn a trade. Tyrone and I, we were just talking about this before you came on about, people not, you don't want to be mechanics anymore. Don't want to be, you can't even get them to go and learn a skill because they figured out how to make money on social media.
Right.
A lot of them have, but I'm like, how much money? They all can't be making that much money. There's just, some of them are because there really is, being a content creator, as I'm sure you've just through working the podcast, and it is serious business. You're going to put in a lot of hours,
right?
And there is an art, and there are people that are very, very, very good at that, but everybody's not that good, and not everybody's being monetized by this stuff. So
no, because the only way, because like I've heard some people who I've talked to some people who know about this business and how it works, and they were like, just because you go viral doesn't mean you get paid for it. The only way you get paid for it is if you get commercials.
You get the ads,
commercials,
sponsors.
Yeah, you got to have that sponsorship, and so you can. So he was explaining that you can go viral, but that doesn't mean you get paid for it. Or if you do get paid just from that platform, it's very little to nothing. It's the sponsorship that makes you really pay.
Right. Right.
So,
and there's only so many sponsors. There's only so many. That doesn't going to happen to everybody. So I'm trying to figure out what everybody is doing, because
a lot of content creators, they're I guess they're booking shows in other ways or whatever, but for the most part they're getting paid. But I don't know if they're making a great living off of it.
They at their mama house, man. They using up mama and dad electricity. Dad, can y'all keep it down up there? So, I'm trying to make some content.
Yeah, look, they living in the basement.
Right, in the basement.
Yeah. So I don't know, because I didn't know Country Wayne was paid like that.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
How is he? Who was paying him this kind of money to do a show? But from what I understand, somebody broke it down to me. They was like, no, his content makes that kind of money because he has the sponsorship. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I'm thinking off of comedy, Steve Harvey ain't making $300,000 a month.
Right.
Well, yeah. And he probably makes $100,000 a night.
Right.
Who is paying that kind of money every month like that, and it's not with the comedy shows, even though he's making great money with the comedy shows, but it's his sponsorships and commercials that keeps him paid the way he.
I mean, he hit on something. Kev on Stage is another guy who hit on something.
Now, Kev on Stage is the only Kev on Stage, and Anna Douglas, and I think
Tony Baker, maybe
Miss Christie. No, I'm going to say
But
they are the only three comedians who are content creators that I know that are funny on stage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Kev is good on. I've never seen his.
Kev is good, but Kev was a comedian before he was a content creator.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Did you say something about? What about Tony Baker, Ty? Did you say something about him earlier that?
Yeah, I thought Chinnita was going to go that Kev on Stage was like a Christian comedian, a Christian-based comedian.
He was. Well, go ahead.
But I wasn't going to say that Tony Baker.
Don't open that.
I'm not.
Keep
I'm just
going.
saying
Okay. All right.
that Tony Baker is not one of those type of Christian.
Was he a comedian before though, or
Tony Baker? He was doing
so who was Tony Baker?
He's the one that does the voiceover for
he does the animal voiceovers and stuff.
But now he's parlayed that into a career, and he's with Kev on Stage on a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's parlayed that into a career. Just started off doing a voiceover for like animals, and
cats.
Cats, or like when the goats was hitting somebody, say cram and stuff.
Cram, right? Yeah,
he do somebody's voice.
Yeah.
On what shows? I don't know Tony.
Just social media. He was hit Instagram.
Oh, okay. I think somebody mentioned him to me before. Okay. Yeah, I gotta go look up his stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
He had so many followers that he's parlayed it into a comedy career. But people still wants him to do the voiceovers. He's like, man, I don't have a lot of time for that anymore,
Right.
But they still know him for that. So, that's parlayed into a bunch of copycatters too. A lot of people now are doing the voiceover stuff, trying to parlay that into a comedic career.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. That's really big. Any kind of mocking is going to be, where you're taking or people that find a viral video.
So he started as a comedian, Cletus Cassidy.
So Tony is a B. He started. Okay, he started.
So he started off as comedian first too. Okay, cool.
So how have you his social media? Have you tried to use social media to enhance what you do, or is that just something that it just doesn't?
I know that I need to do better with social media, and I'm trying. And it's and I really have to purposely try, make myself do, the podcast that we're doing is something that I'm passionate about. So I enjoy doing that. But as far as like being on Instagram and stuff like that, that's just, I'm from old school. So it's hard to get into that like that. And I know some people who have like DL and Earthquake, like they're on social media. They have their social media stuff, and so many other comedians that we started with, or they have somebody to do it for them. But we from the old school, and they make the money where they can have somebody doing it for them.
Yeah.
Or but that's just not.
Well, DL is
to do better.
DL is kind of more into
the podcast,
the political. I mean, he's really kind of. I mean, there's still things where he brings humor into certain situations, but it's more about, I guess, what you maybe even kind of call a whistleblower kind of.
And I would have never thought DL is probably the last person I would have thought would have been.
Why is that?
He is so militant. And I told him, I said, dude, I would have never thought, So, but I don't know. He's always been a really nice guy. But I just never saw that. He was never like the dude to, be confrontational. And now he's very confrontational, you know, but with for the right purposes, basically.
Right.
You know,
he's out for justice for a lot of situations that you know.
He speaks up for our people a lot.
Chinnita, I could see you doing the social media thing because, like, maybe it's the shy Chinnita that's back in the background, like, but we have to. Chris is
no, you're on to something. I'm an introvert.
Right. So, I have to do the same thing too. I'm working on a PhD right now, but once I finish that, I know I have to do more with content creation. I'm old school as it gets, but I got to break down and do it now, and I think there's a way that you could do it where you don't mess up your values and your faith or what have you. But I think that your voice needs to be heard in this new-ish format. I think you need to explore that. Really
I think with this podcast that we're doing now, I think we are tapping into something that I'm very passionate about. Beautiful. And so I'll see where God takes that. But I'm an introvert. I have to force myself to be an extrovert. And then there's the thing, like I've seen so many people who started out so sincere in Christ, and man, them numbers shot up. Right. And man, they went all the way left.
Right.
And so, I don't know. I don't know if you get scared that, or you don't want to put yourself in a position where if that happens to you, you have to make a choice. I mean, I think I'm always gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna make that right choice.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just I think it does something to your ego when all these people are saying this and saying that about you, and everybody's loving you, and you're viral here, and
But you've been there already before. I mean, truthfully, you've been to that high mountain point. So I mean, how much higher could you get?
Oh, hush, Cletus, you already cussing. I'm gonna start cussing. You done made $1,000. He's a thousandaire in cussing.
Cletus the cuss for $5. You have $1 million.
He needs to change his name to Cussing Cletus. Hey.
Oh, that's
Cletus might not look like me.
If somebody paid you
all ones, Cletus.
Chinnita. I'm gonna pay you $500 per cuss word.
Whatever.
Dang nabbits.
Right. I'll be cussing like Yosemite Sam used to cuss. Racking.
Oh man, I saw a great Yosemite Sam the other day, man. Right there. Hey, one of the great follows on Instagram is Looney Tunes. I'm gonna tell you, because they do all the old clips. Yosemite Sam was after this chick's money. This was woman's money, man.
Way.
Oh, it was so funny. I couldn't believe.
Oh no!
It was like
shout out to Mel Blanc, who did
open the door, man. She was like, big girl, man. He was like, oh no. And then she was like, I'm looking for somebody to spend all my money. He was like, he marched right back, man. It was hilarious. I'll send it to you. It's hilarious.
Wow, that's hilarious. Crazy. No, we grew up in the Looney Tune era, and so I miss stuff like that. Man, I miss it. Because
listen, we got to do a part 2. We got to do a part 2 because this is. Time flies, man. We are at an hour and 45 minutes.
What?
Yes, I told. It's like it.
Yeah, time.
And we haven't even gotten to half the stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
That you wanted to ask. We stopped because we haven't even gotten to your takeoff point, really. In your, we got to the
career. Yeah.
So, but we're gonna have, we would love for you to be with us as much as you can, and kind of
on your off.
Bring me back on.
Become a friend of the. We consider you a friend of the show now.
Absolutely.
So.
An esteemed guest.
It was good. I was like, I'm glad you asked me to come on.
Yeah,
I'm loving this. So I want to come back. I want to come back.
And so tell people helping. My nickname is going to now be Ty
TAI.
That's a great artist name. You can't say you better call Tyrone.
Hey, is it better than her friend and my wife's? What's your nickname that you were you remember your other nickname?
Come on, man, you gonna bring that up?
Do you remember? Do you know it?
My nickname?
No, not yours. Not yours.
Oh.
His. She called him. Remember Tyweezy?
Oh, that's what your Chinnita. His Chinnita called me Ty.
The other Chinnita.
Oh.
Yeah, she calls me
That's
Ty.
Nice, Tyweezy.
Really? I can get a job like that? Well, the way you said it sounds good.
I'm surprised Chinnita came up with something like that. What?
She comes up with one every now and then. You know?
You better ask your wife about how she used to hang out with me when I was on the road. You'll want to know them stories.
Yes, I already know. She already told me about them days.
Yeah,
and
we were living the life. We were having a great time. We were young and just having fun. It was a blessing.
I mean, it's cool because you guys and when Dion Ferris was coming, y'all were, you guys were just, that was your circle of people.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of talent in that circle.
Yeah.
My wife
Kim
included.
Burroughs, Kim Burroughs, Dion Ferris, Chinnita, and Chinnita.
So we want to have you back and just come and hang out, man. And
this was fun. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for
So tell people
Wheezy.
Tell people once again where they can find you, find your podcast, and all that good stuff.
Well, you can find me on Facebook as Chinnita Morris, Twitter, IG, as I'm Still Chocolate, which will probably change because I'm not going to let people continue to keep calling me Chocolate.
That's part of your history, though. That's
part
of your history.
And I'm like, but I'm at an age now where I'm like, because normally I'm trying to be too nice and say, oh, whatever is easy for you, but no, I'm trying to come away from that. So
gotcha.
Call me Chinnita.
Gotcha.
And then we're doing the podcast on Tuesday evenings at 7, and it is Donald Martin and myself.
Okay.
And Christian comedians, clean comedians, and even not clean comedians. It's a community. We all can come and talk and, just chop it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
nice little callback.
Right. On Chop It Up Tuesday. Maybe y'all can have all of us.
Your head up like that?
Hey. Next thing you know, I got, because she want me to help her out with the overlay and all that stuff, bruh.
Right,
so I'm like, get the overlay happening. So
do you agree with this right here? He says, I'm an ultra clean Christian. That's what Cletus says.
Ultra clean Christian comedian is what he wanted to say. But let me tell you, anybody eat as much bacon as Cletus eats is not ultra clean in any way, shape, or form. Amen, Cletus? Cletus talk about eating bacon all the time and stuff. But no, he's hilarious though. This ain't no joke.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
Y'all get more comedians up on here because I see that our careers do, not careers, but what am I looking for?
Our trades.
There is a lot of parallel.
Yeah, there's
a lot.
Yeah, with musicians and comedians.
A lot of stories, man, that I've of either comedian friend or just checking things. I'm like, man, they live just like we do.
Hey, Jazz Cats back in the day used to have a comedian set, and they used to play behind it because comedians too.
Yeah,
right.
I was gonna say y'all need to have some comedy open up for you.
Well, we've talked about that, and actually, Ty, you've had that already, right? Did you experiment with that one time? Or?
Well, it was with the Jazz and Jokes thing in Marietta.
Oh, that's right, Jazz and Jokes. That's right.
Jazz and Jokes is always a good thing. I did something with Kevin Whalum.
Yeah, I know Kevin.
Y'all know Kevin. Yeah, Kevin. We did something in he had me with him in Nashville one year, and it was so awesome. But Jazz and Jokes, just the name sounds great.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, we want to, we're going to do some stuff where we definitely want to, double bill
Cross pollinate, yeah.
with, some comedians. So you'll be first on the list, obviously, for that. But
Absolutely.
I think that could go over
Yeah, that
real
would be
well.
good.
So
Yeah. Yeah, because
mhm.
this, you guys, you have a very mature audience, and we love that. So we love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Let's
I hate
see.
long goodbyes.
you, you about to dip? Chinnita about to dip. She's about to be removed.
If we do this one more time, I don't like
All
it.
right,
All
Chinnita.
right, Chinnita. All right, we will see you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys. I love you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Love you too. Bye.
That was fun.
Oh man. Dude,
Oh
that could have
man.
gone on for I was
Dude, I
like,
had to
this
take my
is
head off the screen a couple times. I was laughing so hard, bro. It's not coming out the nose. That's not a
that
good look.
really was she
Not a
was
good look.
tame. She was mild tonight, boy.
I like the spice though. I like that too. Most people don't know I was an introvert. People don't believe that.
Right.
In many ways I still am, but they don't see it. But
You've talked about you've been able to work you kind of had to force yourself out of that.
all this, bruh, money, bruh.
Right. Man, you have to talk to people. I think I
Right.
sit back and I look at, man, all the opportunities by, me not people, especially like when people they ask for what are you doing? What are you
Right.
and it's just, oh, well, I'm just working, man. I'm just working.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out of that.
You can't assume that people know what's in your head or what's going
You
on.
can't.
You have to just say, okay. And if three people ask you the same question, answer the same question. Don't get perturbed about it. You just have to.
And it's different than the people that actually offer their information that you didn't ask for, which is always in my head. Like, man, I don't want to talk about myself. Like, but this is but if people are asking about what you're doing, go ahead and tell them what you're doing, man.
Right.
Because
it's important. And you have to feel that, like, for example, we have a couple of shows coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
People ask you what you're doing. Sometimes they're not going to come out, but they may come out.
And that's okay. Right. Yeah, exactly.
But it gives me a chance to get my elevator pitch together anyway. Oh, I'll tell them you don't want to miss this, because I got to start believing that what we're doing has merit, is healing. I mean, I don't know what you want to say about music, but it is cathartic, right? And what we're doing is on such a high level. Why can't I promote that? Why shouldn't I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this junk, staying up late at night?
And people want, they're not necessarily just, man, that was a perfect point, because, maybe they can't make it that time. Right. Maybe they, for whatever reason, but they still want to know. And if you keep, eventually they're going to come out, they're going to come out. And, especially now, man, it's needed more than ever. You really think about what's being what I call force fed, what's being force fed to the public, is really just, it's empty. I guess it's what they call, the bodybuilders call empty calories, right? It tastes good. It's going, it might hit you for that, for that immediate whatever, but over time, it's not good for you. So, and people are just kind of being force fed the same diet, man. And we have to stay persistent, bro. We have to stay persistent at what because it's easy to, oh, I tried that, it didn't, oh man, nobody come out this time. It's, it's easy to start falling into that trap.
Look how big Whole Foods is now. But people talk about, oh, it's expensive to eat healthy. They have to crack the code. I remember a Whole Foods store when I was in New Orleans, and it was like really just like trying to get off the ground and stuff. And you had to go to the drawing board and figure out how to sell it,
Right.
So,
exactly.
like Brian is saying, right, he's looking forward to seeing the Balls of Theater. Look, I'm looking forward to cracking the code on that. It keeps getting better. They have invested. Thanks for putting that up. They've invested. Every time we've had a show, it's gotten greater and greater response. And so I'm persistent with that. I want to give good music and I want to give artists the chance to do their set. Their set, not
Right.
sets.
Right.
I want them to pour out their heart in the music, what they do, and share what they do. And people come
Right.
and enjoy it and see mastery on a whole nother level, But I don't
Yeah.
want to convolute it with all the extra stuff. So, we're going to crack this code. But, if you guys want to see real musicians, if you want to see a passionate cat, come out to see Chris Burroughs Collective. I'm not even saying that because I'm in it, because this cat is passionate and going to give 110% on whatever he does. He's not worried about the likes. He's not worried about that. But what you will get is a person that's passionate about a show. And but trust me, you curating this thing while other people are sleeping. You're thinking about what you want to do, what you want to give. So that alone, that has nothing to do with the playing aspect of it yet, Chris.
Right.
That alone merits people coming out to see that you have put your heart and soul into putting something together that you haven't even played yet.
Right. Well, it takes I think that's the sometimes it's the dilemma of when because as a musician or as a player, when you are putting on a show, you're the leader. You have to get, you have to organize all the rehearsals. You have to think about what the show, think about the songs, you have to get the charts, whatever you need to do. It's like by the time you get to the playing aspect, it's like, oh man, I gotta play this stuff now because you've already put so much work into that. But it's a muscle that I think I do well, and I'm looking forward to getting back in that chair because it's been a long time, man, since I've done anything under my name. And I encourage other people who are really, who know how to put on a great show and put on, who want to get back out there, seek the venues. I know it's hard, man, because a lot of these venues, they are not into, especially when it comes to anybody's original music, unless you got 10 million followers on such and such, you're not going to get booked. So I understand the frustration in that, man, but that's what makes what you're doing so great, because man, the place is absolutely killing. It's it's in the same building as the Rialto Theater downtown Atlanta on Lucky Street. And it's a real opportunity to, you're not playing a restaurant. You're not having to play. This is like an opportunity for you to put on a concert. And that's what we need to get back to, man, is, we have some really good friends, Justin Varnes, who's doing the Jazz Legacy Project. I hope I got that name correct.
That's right. Strand Theater.
But who's really, man, you got to stick with something. You have to stick with something. You have to believe in it, and you just have to keep on doing it. But he's doing a great job of, doing sort of it's almost like a live masterclass, if you will, where he's taking a legacy artist of jazz and going and putting on concerts that are about this particular artist. And that's something that, we see that all the time with the rock, all these people doing these rock, the rock shows or and not very well at all, mind you, but because they're using a certain prop to get in the door. People want to, everybody loves the Rolling Stones. Everybody loves whatever. So yeah, of course it's going to sell, but it doesn't mean it's good. But what these guys are doing is good, and I feel like there's more, room, especially in the jazz community, for people to, start doing more things. Especially it's got to start. It's just like politics, man. Everything starts on a local level.
Right.
You're not going to get booked at the Blue Note right now, but start on a local level. Build your thing from there. Really get it going. Get a tight unit. Pair up with some other people. Do some shows with other bands. Build your own thing, and I guarantee you that it will grow from there. So that's where we are with this.
Right. Well, bruh, good show.
Man. Yes, sir. So just leaving this up, we are at the Balzer 1119, 7 p.m. You can go to theatricaloutfit.org to get tickets. It'll be promoting. I guess we have another almost 2 weeks, until the show. Till the show is. So we'll just keep throwing it out there. Hopefully, people will come out. Anything going on? I'm at the Tin Roof Cantina tomorrow night with the Mike Veal Band, the best cover band in the world, I think. We'll be out there from 8:30 to 12. You will be at Red Light Cafe.
I will, 9 to 11:30.
With Gordon Vernick and doing the jazz jam over there
At Red Light Cafe.
At Red Light off of in Amsterdam, right?
Yep.
Amsterdam.
That's correct.
And in Midtown. Is that Midtown? Is that considered Midtown?
It's still Midtown.
Okay. Yeah. So go over there, check that out. Come see us at the Tin Roof. And then I don't think I have much this weekend. I got some rehearsals coming up for some stuff, and then I think that's about it. What you got? You got anything this weekend?
My stepson is getting married, so that takes care of that. So yeah, I won't be playing anywhere this weekend.
All right, cool. All right. Well, check us out on Facebook, YouTube at Local Musicians XP, also on Instagram. We will be posting some clips. Spotify also. Like, follow, subscribe, share, let people know, come be a part of the community and hang out with us. And on that note, we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.